us one more second to make sure we are connected. Welcome everyone who's able to join us. I'm Crystal Melanson. I am a functional fertility practitioner and nutritionist, and I want to share a story with you guys today. I have one of my clients, Ashley, on with us. She has an awesome story of just inspiration and hope for you, and how she was able to really influence her health and help change her fertility journey. So we're just going to chat with her. Anyone that's on live, you can definitely type in a question if you have a question, and we can try to answer that for you. But Ashley, thank you for chatting with me.
I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? First off, you are pregnant, so you are in your second trimester.
Yes, I just hit 14 weeks, which was like that big second trimester mark. And I've been feeling awful up to about 3 weeks ago, but feeling so much better. So we're excited to be in this phase of things. And yeah, I'm a local native Coloradoan, if there's anyone else in this group from Colorado. And I don't know what to tell you besides that.
Photographer, so yeah.
I'm a wedding photographer. I'm actually transitioning into families
cool.
in the next year. So yeah.
So we met a little while ago now, and we first started talking about your health, and you had some concerns with your fertility too. Do you mind telling us a little bit about your history with that?
Yeah, I feel like I have kind of a long history with just like hormonal issues and my health in general. But my husband and I decided that we were ready to start our family a few years ago. It's been about probably like 2.5 years now since we started trying to conceive, and we were pretty much immediately disappointed when it wasn't happening right away. And everyone, including my doctor, just kept telling us like, oh, it's normal, it can take up to a year, don't worry about it. And I just always felt like there was something wrong because I have a long history of painful periods and having kind of some negative reactions to hormonal medications like birth control. And, I felt like we were doing everything right. And so it should just be happening, and it wasn't. And about a year into trying to conceive, my doctor just told us that, we could start considering some different options as far as fertility drugs. And I think just given my history with, I also have a history of like some mood disorders, like depression and anxiety, and didn't react well to those medications either. And so I was really hesitant to jump into something in terms of taking a medication before I felt like I was really ready to. I kind of was wanting to save that kind of as a last resort at this point, because I knew that, I felt like it could, make things worse for me. And so I actually had a couple of friends. One of my old wedding clients referred me to Crystal's program, and a good friend of mine as well. And so I just jumped in and was like looking at everything that she had to offer, and felt like it was a great fit for me, with it being natural and just kind of more of that holistic point of view. So I started working with her, and here we are.
Yeah. You said something important. At what point did you start to think that your health might be affecting your fertility, your ability to conceive?
I think this is like kind of a hard answer for me because I think that not being able to get pregnant was always a concern for me. Like I remember being in my early 20s and feeling, you know, scared that it was going to be hard for me to conceive, and I didn't have any like hard evidence or anything that like was telling me necessarily that it would be, but I just felt like it could be. And then I think after we tried even just like 4 months, I was like, I just, I felt like things should be progressing in some way. And they weren't, and just feeling really helpless in the situation, just being told I needed to wait.
Yeah, because you weren't given any other answers as to what could be affecting you.
No, nothing. Yeah, it was just very like, you just need to wait, a year before we can even consider diagnosing you with infertility or treating you for infertility. So that was frustrating because it was like, we wanted to take action. We were excited and felt like, every month that was going by was, time that we were not spending towards starting our family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. I think that can be such a common frustration too. And then you get to that point, that year, whatever random mark you're given, right? And then it sounds like the medications were kind of the only option.
Yeah. Just medications. And I also felt like throughout that, I was telling my doctor that I was having these really painful periods. I mean, intensely painful to the point where I was, not scheduling work for myself for 2 or 3 days when I was expecting my period. And that was when I could expect my period, because sometimes my periods were 28 days and sometimes they were 41 days. So it was like just crazy. And there was no direction on trying to get, a regular cycle so that we could target, ovulation windows. And yeah, I mean, it just is a very helpless feeling situation. So
yeah. So when we're talking about, when you decided that you wanted to use a natural approach, use nutrition and lifestyle changes, what was your biggest fear maybe going into that? Did you have any fears when you were thinking about using that type of approach?
I don't think I had any fears. I guess I maybe didn't feel as confident in myself, like that I could make those changes and stick to them. I think the biggest thing that I struggled with in stepping into it was just like, hey, you're making, an investment in yourself, and it's important for me to, like, I knew that it was going to be work on my end that I was going to have to do. I was going to have to commit to making changes that, in the past, I had struggled with. And so that was maybe the biggest thing that was hard for me. Even being super motivated by wanting to conceive, I still felt those like, well, are you going to be able to do these things? Are you going to be able to stick with it and continue? So
you're failing.
Maybe. Yes. Yeah. And I honestly feel like part of what I came out of with the program was a little bit of proving to myself that I could stick with something like that, and that, it's not all or nothing. Like I've gone through many like times in the last, it's been, I guess, almost a year since I finished the program, but in the last year that I fell off the horse or like didn't like follow things, as we had planned, and it wasn't the end of the world. Like, I just, continued on. And
yeah. So what do you feel like, what shifted that or what made the difference? Was there anything in particular that helped you kind of overcome that fear or helped you stick with things or make things more sustainable for you?
Gosh, that's a great question. um, I feel like, I don't know, it's just kind of like you just kind of have to.
Yeah. So it sounds
Just
like,
not giving up on yourself. Like,
yeah. And you mentioned how, when you decided to invest in yourself, you just kind of like did it, right? Like you,
yeah, yep. It was just like this is, the direction that I feel like is going to be the most helpful for me at this point and what I feel most confident in. And so, I just made the investment into myself. And I also knew, I knew that these were lifestyle changes that I wanted to make regardless of getting, conceiving or not. I mean, I wanted to live a healthier life and be more active and eat, you know, to fuel my body in a healthier way. And so I think it was like kind of a culmination of
yeah.
things that I just knew that regardless, part of it was like telling myself, regardless of whether I get pregnant or not, like this is going to be a positive shift for me in my life and where I'm
You're
going.
worthwhile, whether you have a baby or not, you are worthwhile.
Yes. And I had been dealing with just years of fatigue and stress and like, I mean, major adrenal fatigue with running a small business and, traveling all the time for work. And so I just knew these were things that I needed.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So how do you feel like some of that changed? You mentioned, a mood disorder. I know I dealt with that myself, right? Painful periods. I know so many do. The fatigue, right? How do you feel like that shifted and even affecting your daily life, your relationships?
Yeah, I mean, my husband could tell you it's like a night and day different version of me from where, I was at to where I am now. I was at one point, I had PMDD as a part of this whole cycle, which, if you don't know what that is, it's premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And I would be like bottom of the barrel, just feeling as low as you can like as low as you can feel pretty much. And I really started to notice changes in my mood about um, towards the end of the program when I feel like I really had made a lot of, the changes that we make. And I just had more energy. I felt clearer. I was able to just spend a lot more of my time and energy on being productive and doing things that I enjoyed doing rather than feeling big feelings. And that, feeling those big feelings all the time just gets exhausting. So I'm trying to remember what you asked me.
That's okay. You answered. So do you feel like you were able to kind of, take away some of that overwhelm, the stress of the fertility journey when you were focusing on your actions or what you were able to influence, what you're able to do?
Yeah, I felt a lot more empowered. So it wasn't like, at the doctor, it's here, you can wait a year and see, or we can try these, drugs. And if this doesn't work, then we can try this. It was a lot more empowering to be able to make changes myself and to have some control in what was happening with my body. And I honestly, I mean, I definitely think that just not feeling depressed and defeated all the time, really helped I mean, every aspect and area of my life. So certainly getting pregnant with feeling, more content and happy in my life and my relationships, and
Yeah.
especially with my husband. So
Yeah. Awesome.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Big question. Are you going to find out, boy or girl?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
gonna-
Yes, we actually found out at 8 weeks. We did
Oh,
the sneak peek test.
nice.
Um,
Yeah.
we are not big on surprises here. We're both huge planners. So,
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah,
So do you have any, big takeaways? Anything you'd like to add?
I think there's always like, a little piece of you when you're presented with an option that's um, maybe not necessarily like the norm. Whether you're like questioning, is this really going to help me? Or what are people going to think, if I tell them that I'm, working with someone outside of the mainstream medical system on my fertility. And I think you just have to do what's best for you. And if you feel like it's something that's going to help you and you feel like you're at that point where you want to move forward and like make a difference in your own health and like not just be a slave to the system, I guess. And yeah, just kind of empowering yourself and making your own decisions. I would just encourage you to do that because it made a huge difference for me.
Good. Well, thank you so much for sharing and sharing your story with everyone. You had some good takeaways there. I don't think we have any specific questions, but thank you for chatting with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.